Good afternoon. This is Dr. Bonsai, Dr. Bonsai's Meme Emporium, and today I have kind of a two-parter for you. This first part I'm kind of filming in my upstairs bedroom because my workspace is currently occupied. So, just going to do a quick review of what we're getting as far as the Contemptor Dreadnought in the starter set, the Age of Darkness starter set. So, as you can see, two sprues, hard gray plastic, incredibly sectioned and detailed. You can basically hardly tell where anything starts and begins, which is kind of the MO for GW these days. They are able to make this crazy stuff and make it work. So this is what looks like to be the upper torso and arms, and also some of the legs and the feet. This might just be the entire body, functional body of the Dreadnought. And then we have the weapon sprue, which is, let's see, multi-multa, heavy bolters, las cannons, auto cannons. So it's going to be a big boy, as well as the fist-mounted weapons. Now, something that, and it comes with a 60 mil base. So something that GW did that's kind of scummy is the full retail release actually has 3 sprues. The third sprue not only has more weapons, but it also has more options for the chest. As far as Loyalist crests, Horus, Eye of Horus crests, different head with laurel leaves, so you can have a quote-unquote venerable Contemptor. Not that that's really a thing in the rules. So yeah, pretty quick and simple. It doesn't look like much, but these new GW kits really don't these days until you start bashing them together. So I'm looking forward to getting this one together, and I will update you guys once I'm done. Okay, kind of doing a free cam here because I think it's going to be a little bit easier to do with this guy. So assembled, went together really well. Don't mind the shiny parts. That's just where I use the Tamiya extra thin glue, if you can see it in the background. It just makes the plastic shiny, and it will ultimately be invisible once the miniature is finished. Some mold lines or some seam lines that you kind of have to buff out a little bit, but I went with a very basic configuration. Gravis heavy bolters, combi bolter, all the parts fit and locate really well. Now, the only thing, you'll see what's going on with the head here in a bit of the top. So basically what it is you can kind of see this part, this part, this part, and the top piece are all separate. So, and this is kind of a gotcha that I discovered, is the head right there is, the head is such that you cannot put it in there after this whole thing is assembled. So I built the torso. I assumed it was like the cataphracti, right? So like a cataphracti, you got plenty of real estate to drop the head in. Nope, can't do that. So to get the head to fit, I had to cut the bottom kind of locating hemisphere off it, and then kind of jam it in there, and you can kind of see some damage. It's actually smooth to the touch, which indicates that it should not have any issues once it paints up. The legs, honestly, I think on a second build, if I were to get a second one, which I probably am because I'm just not happy with my build quality on this, and I'm not going to say, oh, fucking GW, this is purely skill issue. So I don't know why this went together so poorly. Maybe I was rushing. I'm thinking that I was rushing too much to try to get this guy done, but otherwise it's a very confident build. It's very clean. I can definitely see the appeal of the Forge World upgrade kits for the center torso, because this was just getting the feng shui and everything just right, and the fact that this part, that these two parts, so you can kind of see where they join in the middle, and you kind of have to buff that, you kind of have to smooth it out and buff it out. You know, that's, I think I'm starting to see the benefit of the Forge World upgrades now. So there is that. There is a Terminator for scale, Cataphracti for scale, so obviously way bigger. And then you finally have your standard, well, I guess your standard Space Marine here. So what if so as you can see, these guys are actually kind of same in height, but let me actually grab just a standard Ultramarine without any crap on the back of his head. So as you can see, they're kind of equal in head height, but the Cataphracti has more overall volume based on kind of like the shoulders and the back. And then you have the Contemptor, so it's almost like you have the three different sizes of Marines. You have the regular guy, you have the Dreadnought, and then you have the Contemptor here. So Judgment, I despite the issues that I had, which again are down to skill issue and build quality issues on my side, it has a ton of options still. So here is the weapon sprue, here's the leftover weapons, and then you also get a leftover Havoc launcher. So, and again, the actual kit will come with a third sprue, so if you buy it separate from the Age of Darkness box set, you're going to get a third sprue that contains even more weapon options, and you can actually do a second fist, a second power fist, so you can have that gnarly looking dual claw Terminator, not Terminator, but Contemptor. So my only piece of advice with building this is really take your time, ensure the fit is good, and do follow this is gonna sound hilarious, but do follow the instructions, because that is really going to dictate how the rest of the kit goes together, specifically when it comes to the head. Make sure, and that can be kind of tough if you're just building it, because this part here, because bring this back, so this part here is all one piece that actually fits over kind of this well, if you can kind of see the well that the head sits in. And again, this is kind of like a Terminator where you can kind of not see it after a certain point. So really some of these Mars and crap you're just not going to see, which lucky me. But yeah, so do assemble the head in the way that they dictate. You can kind of see the legs are fully posable, the arms are fully posable. The posing the arms was not that hard. The legs were a little bit tricky, just from the fact that, you know, I didn't want to do a totally basic standing pose. I wanted to have one foot up, and of course you can get all sorts of dynamic poses out of the miniature, depending on how you build it. So, and to be perfectly honest with you, the more I look at it, the less down I am about my build of it, because it just kind of works. It just kind of works. A little Dreadnought guy. I will probably get a second, just so I can get the extra options and the kind of blingy the sarcophagus that has more cool stuff going on for it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Again, it rewards careful building and paying attention to what you're doing. So I'm like 0-2 for doing that with this build. So hopefully this has been helpful and or informative. You guys have a great night.